You are about to witness history in the making.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Pop Culture Gamers podcast end of year episode for 2020. And what a year it's been. My name's Haydn, and I'm here as always with Steve. Hi, Steve. How are you doing?
Morning, shall I say, as we're going to say to everyone else, even though it could be the afternoon for them.
Or the evening.
God.
Steve's just woken up because I'm watching him at the moment, rubbing his eyes.
I do apologise.
So it's the end of the year show. So we do things a little bit differently on the end of the year show. We go through month by month. We're going to talk about some of the events, some of the people who we've lost. So we've got some greetings or seasonal greetings from you guys as well. So thank you all for sending those in. So let's kick off the year, shall we, with January. So, Steve, what were your highlights of January for gaming-wise?
Nothing. I'm just looking through the show. And to be honest, I think the first few months are going to be a bit poor. That's no disrespect to the developers.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot kicked off other than COVID early part of the year.
Yeah.
You can help us out on a couple of things, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of sort of highlights, I think, in January. There was the Monster Hunter World Iceborne for those people who were really into the Monster Hunter sort of universe. I know that people are big fans of Dragon Ball Z, which I'm not, but I know a lot of our listeners are.
Yeah, I never got to grips with that.
No, I never did either.
I'm the wrong generation for that, I think. That's all it is.
I think it's the same with me as well. There was The Sims 4, Tiny Living, which obviously continuation of the massively popular Sims franchise. Oddworld Stranger's Wrath HD was released on the Switch. One game I did play this month was Journey to the Savage Planet, which was sort of like how can I put it? A Metroidvania sort of game with Borderlands sort of humour influences in there. It wasn't too bad. It just didn't keep my attention going. And then there was the Coma 2, which was a PC game, Pillars of Eternity, Deadfire. I've never really got into the Pillars of Eternity games, but again, I know it's one that people like. And one I did play, which I think was a game with gold, which was Coffee Talk.
I was just about to mention that, and that does ring a bell.
Yeah, in that game you play a barista, basically.
Okay.
And you have to make different forms of coffee. So that's what that game's all about, basically. And yeah, I played that. It was okay. It just wasn't anything absolutely fantastic, to be fair.
Is it on Games for Gold now, is it?
Yeah, if you've added it, it should still be in your Game for Gold list. I mean, I 1K'd that game, and I think I also played it on PlayStation and got the Platinum for it as well. But it was okay. It wasn't anything special. And that was pretty much it. I mean, in terms of events in the year, this was the month where, after a lot of discussion about what was been going on in China in the December before, the World Health Organization declared that COVID-19 is a disease of public health emergency and of international concern. So this was really the first where we started to pay attention to it, but none of us thought it was going to affect us.
Well, I think a lot of people did have colds and flus in Christmas, January. Yeah. I remember quite a few people in our family had it, but you don't know if it was linked to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, entirely.
So celebrities we lost?
Celebrities, we lost Derek Acora.
Yeah.
So obviously the only way to get in contact with him is to through a Ouija board or something like that, which is the type of thing he was into anyway.
I thought you was going to say Skype.
It does feel like Skype is possibly another way sometimes, the way that works. Derek Folds passed away. He was 82. He died on the 17th. We lost Terry Jones from Monty Python at the age of 77. And also Nicholas Parsons, age of 96, which I don't know about you, but in my household when I was a kid, Nicholas Parsons was sort of like that Saturday night game show kind of.
I'm not sure if it was it Saturday or Sunday afternoon that I can remember the show Save the Century being on.
Yeah, I can't remember which night. I thought it was Saturday evening, but I might be wrong. Because there was also Dusty Bin as well, wasn't there? With 3-2-1.
It was a Yorkshire Times Tees production, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, bless him.
Here it is, the sale of the century.
Well, that's what probably kicked off a lot of other quiz shows.
Probably did.
Formats.
Yeah, probably did.
I mean, they did have some good. They were giving away caravans and filming imps and all sorts.
Yeah, what I always remember was, I mean, I know that 3-2-1 wasn't him, but that was another big one, wasn't it? Back in the day.
That was in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm sure it was Sunday, wasn't it? That it was Bullseye.
Possibly.
Yeah, and what they always seemed to do was give away boats to landlocked people.
Yeah, and they looked like they didn't. They looked like they wouldn't be boat people to save their lives as well.
Yeah, which is interesting.
No. Yeah, they probably flogged it.
I would have thought probably most of them did. So anyway, that was January.
Okay.
Not a very eventful month, but we do have a Christmas message from Jason Toon.
Hey, Steve and Haydn. This is Jason Toon, wishing you and my fellow listeners a very Merry Christmas.
Right. Thanks, Jason, for that. That's great. Thanks for sending in the message. So let's move on to February. So we have a few more different things on this one. So, Steve, what are your picks in here?
And this is where I'm gonna think about this because I think Zombie Army 4 Dead War rings a bell. But I think that was a bit of a poor game in the end, if I remember rightly. I wouldn't like to shout it out too much. AO Tennis 2, even though I did have it was 2 tennis games I think came out. This is on the Switch, mind you, but I think they came out around the same time of year. Yakuza 5 comes to mind. It's still in its box and not been unwrapped yet. In my house, must admit. And Yakuza 0 again. That's not unboxed either. So
you want to get those traded in because they're free on Game Pass.
Yeah, I've got the PS4 versions.
Ah, right, okay.
So I mean, a trip to CX when the world's back together, maybe with a few bits and pieces, I think will come to mind.
Maybe.
I think the other thing, the biggest game of February, I think, was Life is Strange 2, the complete season. Which, even though we are on take 2, I'm still trying to remember whether I did play it or not.
Yeah, I did episodes 1 and 2. I've yet to complete the story. So this is a story where one of the characters is a transgender character, and it was a big thing at the time, wasn't there? It was the first proper transgender video game character.
Yes, well, that's a thing now, isn't it? So
yeah, everything has to be something like that these days.
Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition on the Switch, even though that probably came out the year before. That's pretty good. Not much else. Oh yeah, Metro Redux, which I think's just recently been added to PC somewhere for free. Am I right?
It was on Epic Game Store earlier this month. It was for free. It was a 2033 version, yeah. And
wasn't that going to be a big... Well, maybe I think the year before when it was advertised and to be coming out, it looked all great, but it turned out to be a bit of a flop.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. That the Metro Redux was, I think, the collection of the first 2 games that went out on the Switch, I think.
See, my brain's like we switched on this morning. It's me. Yeah, I'm a mess. Yeah.
I've forgotten what the last game in the Metro Metro Exodus, wasn't it? That was supposed to be the one that was supposed to be really good. Yeah. I mean, for me, in terms of some of the games that sort of stand out, Life is Change 2. You know, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes of that. Still got to go back and do the third. Zombie Army for Dead War. I do like the Zombie Army sort of games. They are zombified versions of Sniper Elite, basically, but much more arcadey. On the Switch, played it not on there, but on other platforms, was the Turing Test. So, you know, quite...
That's the game I sent back to Xbox.
Is it?
It didn't work.
Oh, right, okay. I had no problems with it working on mine, but the Turing Test is sort of like like a Portal puzzle game without a portal gun. You know, it's that sort of, you know, first person puzzly sort of game. The Yakuza games, obviously, they're a bit of a standout as well. Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition was out. One game I did play here was Dark Genesis.
Okay.
So Darksiders Genesis, rather. That was a completely different take on the Darksiders game, and it was, I think, like isometric sort of view, a bit like Diablo, which was quite good. Devil May Cry, I played a little bit of that as well. You've obviously got Kingdoms Hearts 3 Remind there as well. Space Channel 5 VR is one I would have minded having a try of. Do you remember Space Channel 5?
No, I didn't even get to give it a go, I don't think.
It was like a rhythm action sort of game
right.
back on the Dreamcast in the day. Metro never really got into, and I certainly didn't play it on the Switch either. So yeah,
I still think it's a bit of a poor month personally.
Yeah,
I think it's. I'm just going to browse a bit now, but it's going to take a little while until about March, I think. But here we are. We're still in February. So COVID-19 is named by who?
The World Health Organization.
Okay, I'm thinking. I don't know why I'm thinking the band, but anyway.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't named by the Who. It was named by who? The World Health Organization. So it's obviously early in the morning.
It really is. I need another cup of tea as well. I'm up with a giant Greenwich. So NASA published a detailed study of the Arath, the most distant body ever explored by a spacecraft.
Yeah,
don't remember that happening.
Yeah, it was. I think it was an asteroid or something or other like that. That was somewhere deep in space.
And Luxembourg is the first country in the world to make all public transport free to use.
Yeah, so if you don't want
to and the last probably
yeah, probably the last place in the world to have public transport as well.
I can't believe the UK would ever have something like that.
No, I can't. Not the way that we are. We lost Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, which for me that was a big one because he was 103. I think you could talk all day about Kirk Douglas and the films he was in. I mean, Spartacus comes to mind. Saturn 3 with Farrah Fawcett Majors.
Yeah,
which I think was probably one of the later ones. What else was there? I think one of the early ones for me, which I really loved, was Gunfight at the OK Corral.
And one for me was this one, Cactus Jack.
Oh yeah,
which had Arnold Schwarzenegger in as well, and it was a comedy.
Yeah, I gave that a very wide berth.
Oh man, you got to watch it. It's hilarious. It is really funny.
It's, how do I put it? It just sounds wrong.
It's not though. It sounds wrong in every way, and in every way, it's right. It's sort of like, you know, the Hanna-Barbera sort of cartoons. And that sort of comedy, it's that applied to a live action movie starring Arnie and Kirk Douglas, and it is hilarious.
Yeah, that I cannot get to grips with, and well, maybe I'll have to have a look at some point if I get one bored evening. Yeah, and there was one horror flick in '78 called The Fury. He was in. I can't remember very well. I do have a copy somewhere. I think it's in my Arrow collection, but yeah, big loss.
Yeah, and also lost John Shrapnel as well. If you remember, if you want to think about who he was, if you remember Notting Hill, the movie, he was like, you know, the agent who kept coming in and out of the room when Hugh Grant was talking to, I forgot what her name is. Oh, I can even see her blooming face as well. Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
Where he kept coming in and saying, "Oh, one more question" and stuff like that. He was that actor.
Oh, he was the organizer of the film that she was in for the. Yeah, I'm just gonna have a little look at him now, just to remind myself.
Yeah, but he's been in lots of other things, like for example, Gladiator, Troy, 101 Dalmatians. He's been in The 10th Kingdom, Wycliffe.
It's weird. The profile's very poor on IMDb.
I know. He was actually in Space 1999, which is always a favourite of mine as well.
He's only got 2 credits. Did they mention it?
No, he's been in a lot more.
But I do know who you're talking about, though. And
yeah.
I didn't realise he had passed away. But
yeah, unfortunately. But you know, comes to us all, doesn't it? So at 77 these days feels like you're slightly short-changed as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, especially when I'm not creeping up on it just yet, but creeping up it enough, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to March. So Steve, what's your choices here?
So MLB The Show, I think, is probably, I'm going to say, just looking at this, is one of the main reasons for me to have a PS4, right. And still is. But now I'm led to believe the new MLB The Show is coming out on Xbox.
Okay.
So that's going to be handy. Due to hopefully that's going to be all jazzed up. It's something. If you're a baseball fan, I think it's one of the best baseball games ever made. It still is. It's got a lot of production values involved with it. It's like how FIFA does with EA, the MLB Show does for baseball for me. There was the other one, RBI Baseball, but that was always the poor man's version for me. A game that I didn't purchase, but I've got the original, and I still don't know if I need to purchase it at some point, is Persona 5 Royale. Now, Persona 5, I put in over 100 hours and completed the game. I think I'm halfway through the second run. But Royal brought in some more characters, which I think is a bit of a short change because they never did it as DLC. So I never got to play that, unfortunately. Division 2.
On Stadia?
Yeah. I never played Division 2, I don't think, at all.
Did you not?
I don't know. I don't think I did.
100%. It was in Washington and it wasn't in winter.
I mean, a few people still rate it, but it wasn't for me. The Complex comes to mind. And if you don't know what that is, that was one of those movies where you have an interaction to progress the story to an ending, which might have about 3 or 4 endings. And that was to do with, if I remember rightly, that was to do with a virus, which at the time of this event happening at that time of year is probably quite appropriate.
Yeah.
Do you remember playing that?
I don't.
So what it was is there was a woman was out in, I think she was out in like some sort of jungle. I think she was working out there at the beginning, and you had to choose between a woman and a man that she would save. Still don't ring a bell? No. And the sort of the climax is in this laboratory in this building in London where this virus goes airborne. Because I think it was in a collection of them. You could buy them. I think Xbox did it with a collection of those types of games. But I did play it twice to the end, I think. And again, it's those sort of things that are quite good for Christmas, I think, because people can join in.
Yeah.
Especially as there's been not much telly on this year that's been any good. Something like that can sort of bring a group of people together, I think. But,
absolutely.
I think that's about it. Anything that comes to mind for yourself?
Well, for me, there's a couple of ones. Obviously, I mean, I never played it, but for those people who are into it, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is obviously one that's got a bit of more of a cult following. Call of Duty Warzone, I played it very briefly. If I remember rightly, that was the one that didn't have a campaign, so I lost interest very quickly.
How about Doom Eternal? I think that was one of the big ones for a lot of people in March.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the last Doom one, so I never bothered with Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that was quite good.
Works well on your phone, I can tell you that.
I haven't tried it on my phone.
Plays a treat. I mean, just going back to that, is Apple got it out now yet or not?
It's supposed to be either getting it or it's working, but I'm not a big fan of mobile gaming at all. You know, and they're certainly not pairing up a controller to it.
But you play on a Switch?
Yeah, but I play on the Switch on the big screen. I tend not to play it on the small screen because I find that holding the Switch with the shape of the I forgot what they're called, the Joy-Cons things, is really uncomfortable on my hands.
Right.
And I get cramp, so I just don't bother. If I play on the Switch, I'll play with the Pro Controller plugged into my TV. It's more or less probably 90% of its play time, if it does get played, is on the big screen rather than on the small screen. Other games that were out at this time, Noah 2 on PlayStation 4. Never played that one. State of Decay 2 on the PC, which is obviously Microsoft's zombie sort of game. The Division 2 I did play. I did play quite a bit of on the PC. I was going to stream it, but my PC wouldn't stream properly on as a single PC streaming setup. I've yet to try that on that game, but the demands on it on my old PC were just too much. It was too laggy and dropped the frame rate down considerably. So I originally got that to sort of like go through the campaign and stream it, but never really transpired. My son's recently started playing Doom 64. One that's on here, Half-Life Alyx. That was a PC VR game. I've not played it, but I understand it is really very good. Bright Memory on the PC. Now, I haven't played it on the PC, but I've played it on the Xbox Series X, because it's not a very long game. It's about 30-40 minutes, and it gets progressively faster to get your way through, because you get power-ups which you carry on forward to the next level. But this is going to be part of there's going to be a bigger sort of franchise version of it later on, which I think is going to be episodic. If I remember rightly, in nature, it's going to be released on the Series X. And it's sort of like a very sort of Japanese style hack and slash first person sort of game. And it's got lots of that, sort of like Japanese narrative that goes on, with showing the character talking and, all that sort of stuff. So it's actually not too bad on the Series X if you want to try it on there. The big one for me this month, though, was Saints Row 4 Re-Elected, because I love Saints Row.
Yeah, that's I would say your type of Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. I was never into Saints Row until Saints Row 3, and then since then I've been into them. But I love the Saints Row 4 one. I just, it's it's really quite amusing. And let's face it, when you're flying a spaceship through another spaceship with Hadaway playing What Is Love in the background, what more do you want in a video game?
No, I get your grift with that. I think Grand Theft Auto for me was always the RPG run around to go to.
Yeah.
Probably until now, shall I say? Some people may disagree with me, depending on what you're running it on, but I still feel the Cyberpunk's taken that mantle a little bit. But yeah, I think I did, when they became free on Xbox Gold, I did just pick them up anyway.
Yeah. Well, you got to, haven't you?
I think the biggest thing to me was the shock of everyone going into lockdown. I think for me that was probably the biggest part of March. Yeah.
Well, we'll get on to world events. Just want to talk about two more.
Go on.
Call of Duty World of Warfare 2 campaign on the PlayStation 4. Again, a good make. And the Complex. And you think you played this one, didn't you, Steve?
I just said this. I just said this. Yeah, I said yeah.
Yeah.
You don't remember it, do you?
No, I do remember it now. I do. When we were talking about it earlier on, I didn't. But yeah, it was.
I thought my brain was the only one that was kicking out. Trying to kick out this morning.
Come on, it's only 10 to 10 in the morning. My brain doesn't turn on until 12. Yeah, the Complex. It was a good game. So yes, so you were saying about COVID. Yeah, that sort of like picked up on the 8th with the pandemic in Italy places 16 million people in quarantine, more than a quarter of its population, in a bid to stop the virus.
And it included me for 2 weeks because I had all the symptoms, plus I had the squeaky voice from Toy Story 2, and I was dreadful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful. And I was in lockdown in this room here, which was handy. And sleeping on the lounge when the missus went to bed because I kept my distance.
Yeah, well, you got to, haven't you?
But now with the new strain, it's my soul over again.
Yeah. On the 11th, the World Health Organization recognised COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic. And then on the 16th, we go into lockdown after most of Europe.
Yeah. Was it then you started working from home permanently? To be honest?
I'd basically been working from home since about February, but that was not because of COVID. That was just because of the way that work was with me at the time. I was near the end of my sort of like temporary contract with Health and Adult Services, bringing in this new way of doing adult social care. And moving back to children and young people service. So sort of like, because I delivered the project and, that was done, and it was sort of like the maintenance aspect, I was just doing other sort of like bits of work that needed doing in health and adult services. And a lot of that I just did from home because I didn't need to be in the office. So, it's like beginning of March really was when I was really, if not before, working from home. But officially, it was actually from the 11th, because it was a week before we went into lockdown. I was told just work from home, which is annoying because I still at my desk at work, I've got a load of stuff of mine still sat there, which at some point or another I'm going to have to go into my old office and get all of my stuff.
He's just starting to gather dust and have spider webs all over it by now, probably.
Yeah, probably. So, so we went into lockdown, and also this was when the European Broadcasting Union announced that the Eurovision Song Contest 2020 would be cancelled due to COVID. Yeah. The first cancellation in 64 years. Thank God for that.
Oh, man. I mean, it did spawn quite a few bands, shall we say.
Yeah.
Like ABBA, for example. Cliff Richard did it, God forbid, and we had Brotherhood of Man and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's something I gave a wide berth to these days. It's never the same.
Oh, God, no. It's awful. But, I mean, I always remember it quite ironically when the Pet Shop Boys tried to
Really?
go into Europe. The Pet Shop Boys tried to do Eurovision Song Contest, and I can't remember who it was who beat them in the like English sort of round. And the song that they were going to release, I think, was it Rent or Pananero? It was one of those two, both of which were like number one in most of the countries in Europe. And we picked I think it was like Bob Geldof or someone like that ended up getting picked to represent England, and absolutely bombed. And I always find it really quite amusing that, because Pet Shop Boys had done something that everybody in Europe liked and probably would have won. You know, I think it's.
I don't think that would be allowed, would it? Because they're sort of middle of the road bands are sort of going into.
But this was early in the career. The word this.
I suppose it's the same for Cliff Richard when he did it.
Yeah.
So that similar sort of thing, I would have thought. You know.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about, you know, Rent and Pananero, those ones, you're talking about mid-'80s. But I remember watching it on TV and I was like, yeah, Pet Shop Boys, and then I didn't get it. And then we absolutely bombed.
We bomb every year now, unfortunately. It's
tactical voting nowadays.
I think it was even that in the 80s and the 70s, when if you had diplomatic issues, that whoever you weren't sort of friends with in the community, for the Prime Minister, say, they would give you a bum deal when it comes to that. And then Turkey would probably help someone more local in their countries near them, and wouldn't, you know, they'd put their points in. It's just very, you know,
it's weird,
and not a true representation, I think, of voting as it should be.
No, definitely not. Celebrities we lost Max von Sydow, Ming the Merciless.
Yes,
sorry, I should have put on a warning. May be offensive to some people.
I was going to say, before we got into that, because I am going to say that for me, as much as that's what he did, for me, The Exorcist is his film. So it's one of the, I still think one of the most influential horror films of its time.
Oh, definitely. But
it still packs a punch.
It does.
But probably this generation would probably more laugh at it, maybe.
Well,
you know, and thinking just mid-'80s, was it? I think 90s, Minority Report.
Yes, yeah,
he was the baddie. Spoilers.
He was indeed.
But yes, I say Flash Gordon did put his career on a different level at that point. Back in, what was that? Early
1980.
Yeah. And a lot of other people as well. It's funny you should say about, I don't remember seeing that black banner at the beginning of the film. Is it in there, is it? With the warning?
Not on the Blu-ray, but it is on, evidently on Sky, and it is on the Beeb or wherever it is. It was publishing it recently. But, because I know that you posted something over Christmas about it.
And it's if I go to different sort of Facebook groups I'm in, they're all having a go at this, saying this is just crazy, absolutely crazy.
I think that, you know, my response to you, other than the WTF moment, was
it's or FFS for some. You're all the same.
Oh no, that was what it was. It was FFS, wasn't it? It's sort of like, why do we need to put on an alert that this may contain outdated attitudes when it's a 40-year-old film? Of course it's going to contain outdated attitudes. Star Trek, which is one of the most progressive shows around and has been right throughout its whole life, you look at the original series, it's sexist.
Yeah, and it had that big moment of the first interracial kiss.
Yeah. Anyway, let's have a listen to Albert Manafee's Christmas message.
Hello, Haydn, Steve, and Alan. Albert Menifee here from Marietta, Georgia in the U.S. I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas and congratulate you on yet another successful year for the Pop Culture Gamer UK podcast.
All right. Thank you very much, Albert. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Albert.
So, April, Steve.
Yeah, we are certainly slipping into gear here. Oh, look, gear tactics. No pun. Anyway, yes, I think there's two games from two franchises that really stood out here and still does. Firstly, I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII, the remake, which I need to start from scratch because my save went pear-shaped on my on my PS4. And again, from that era, or should I say a little bit it was the same era, would have been the remake of Resident Evil 3.
Yes, I would have put that there.
Those are the two biggest games. Full stop. Nothing else matters. We did have Gears Tactics for the PC, which we're just about getting now on the Xbox. Also, we have Yakuza Kiwami as well. Again, that's another one I haven't been to yet. Only because I'm probably playing Resident Evil 7 at the time. Something I did play the demo for on the PlayStation was Predator Hunting Grounds. And from one of the greatest movies ever made, they nailed that as the Predator.
But that was just a remake of I forgot what it was called, but
but they
a reskinning of a previous game, wasn't it? Where it was a 4v1.
Yeah. It was. But they nailed the Predator this time, and the when you went into the different, the eyes of the Predator, when you go into like a heat sink version of the you could look around and see what was bright red and everything else. All of that, all those sort of environments come to life as it did in the film, and I think they pretty much nailed it. Again, unfortunately, those 1 versus 4 games they're a bit of fun for a while, but then they sort of die a death. They don't seem to stand up too much. Maybe I'm wrong. Some people may like them. The same at some point when Friday the 13th came out, a great horror flick of its time, using Jason Voorhees running around slashing teenagers, which is a great idea. But again, it's an online thing that you've got to try and do, match up with people. But definitely for me, I think Resident Evil 3, which I haven't finished, believe it or not. The only reason I hadn't finished it is because that came out just before Final Fantasy did. So I need to go back to both those games at some point. Anything for you there?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Resident Evil 3. I've still yet to play it. I've got it on the PC.
Right.
So that was a good game. For me, this month, the standout game had to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was the one that everybody had been waiting for such a long time. It came out the day before my birthday as well. And it was... I mean, it was just the first part of the original game that was based in the city, but they expanded that to such a considerable degree, and in a good way. You could tell it was done by people who cared about the source material that it was based on. So,
absolutely, they really expanded it well. I think the dynamics of the game of the fighting was good.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really good interpretation of the game. I'm looking forward to part 2. I'll probably be about 60 by the time that's released. I might still be alive to play the last installment.
I always wonder that, to be honest. You never know. It's due to the COVID as well. It's a bit of a difficult scenario to be in.
Yeah, definitely. Other than that, I think games that were released this month, there is the XCOM Chimera Squad, which I didn't actually play, but I was a fan of the XCOM games. Disco Elysium. I did play that. That's sort of like a it's kind of like a cyberpunk Blade Runner sort of detective kind of storyline, but delivered in a view that looks like Diablo but plays nothing like it. So it's much more of a sort of point and click kind of thing. But I quite enjoyed playing what I did of that. I just didn't get through the story. Gears Tactics, I played a few levels of that. Quite enjoyed that because that's very XCOM sort of way of delivery as well. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds was released on the Stadia. I've not played it on Stadia. I've not played any Stadia games, to be fair. But I was never a big fan of PUBG, I have to admit.
No, I no. I think I actually had never played a game of PUBG.
Yeah, I mean, it's from the last time that I played it, it's Fortnite without the building and a little bit more realistic graphics, but pretty poor quality. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered was also released on the Xbox One and the PC, and that was about it for me for that month. World events, we had the ESA JAXA space probe BP Colombo made its final gravity assist around the Earth and began its departure for Venus, where it will make several gravity-assisted manoeuvres before finally arriving at Mercury in 2025. This was also the month where oil was so low. And if you remember, I think it was the first time in God knows how many years where in some places petrol went to below £1.
It did, yeah.
Which was fantastic, apart from the fact that as we were in lockdown, we couldn't go anywhere anyway.
It was okay. It was okay for us that was running around as key workers, but yeah, for everyone else, they were gutted that they couldn't take the opportunity to fill their car up to make
Yeah. Also in science news, there was a first radio burst detected from a magnetar. The first ever detected in the Milky Way galaxy and the first to be linked to a known source, which is quite interesting. There was also a near-Earth asteroid, which was 2 kilometers wide, made a close approach of 0.042 astrometric units, which is about 6.3 million kilometers to Earth. So that's, several, that's about what? About 24 times the distance to the moon. So it was, close by celestial sort of thing in terms of if you wanted to drive it, it'd take you a good few years.
But it wasn't close enough to go to the shops.
No, definitely not. And it will not approach us until 2079 again. And NASA officially selected SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Dynetics as the next generation lunar lander to carry astronauts to the moon by 2024. I bet that's been pushed back a bit now because of COVID.
Well, possibly.
Yeah. We lost Honor Blackman, the first of 2 people from Goldfinger this year. She was 94, and Sir Sterling Moss as well at the age of 90.
Yes, Goldfinger was, it's still one of the best Bond movies out there.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they're all great anyway, but she was great, and we also had her in the Avengers as well with Patrick Lee. But a great loss. Again, it's funny how we're losing people that we
grew up with.
We love to watch.
Yeah,
because of the ages now kicking in. Wouldn't put it past, because we got some people as much as people like Kirk Douglas were 103. We got still some famous actors that we all adored in the 70s and 80s that are still kicking around now even.
Yeah, some of them are even making a fifth sequel in their series.
Franchise, yeah. And
Indiana Jones and the Escape from the Old Folks Home.
Yeah, down in Southbourne, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and Sterling Moss, I say, great racing driver of his time.
Mm.
So yeah, real shame.
Yeah. So
I need, when we get, can I go and make a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll kick into May.
Yeah. All right, so we're back after a brief coffee creation session, and we're into the month of May, so we're getting down a month now, or the year now. So what were your big takes from this month, Steve?
Hey, I think I probably was still playing games from last month. I did try Elder Scrolls Blades. Now, that was already coming out on the Switch, but I think it was already out on Android at the time for some sort of Skyrim fix, if we can call it that. John Wick Hex I never got to play. I think you did, if I remember rightly.
No, I didn't play that one.
Let's have a look what else. This is a longer list, longer than the PC. Something I want to play, yeah, which I'm waiting. I think it's in the sale at the moment. Is Mortal Kombat 11,
right?
Because they've added Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone as Rambo characters in that fighting game, which I think would be worth a look at. Obviously, the Bioshock collection is a good shout out for the Switch, which is on a huge discount on Xbox at the minute, by the way. So if no man and his dog has picked this up yet, it's well worth picking up. I think that's about it, really. I don't know about yourself there. Is there many PC games?
No, I mean, I've already mentioned Zombie Army 4 previously, because that came out on Stadia. Forza Street on iOS and Android wasn't too bad. I did.
Yeah, I played it on Android for a good hour.
Yeah.
And then put it down again.
Yeah. Wasn't too bad for a pick up and drop sort of thing.
No.
It was also, this month was the first time that Tetris Effect came out on the Quest.
Yes.
Which is the one of the VR platforms, isn't it? But it later came out on Xbox. But I think it had previously been an exclusive to PlayStation.
Yes, it has been, yeah. And we've only, I recently played that, if it's mentioned, a little bit later in December.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a bit more then, I think. Mafia 2 and Mafia 3 Definitive Editions came out, which was, the great thing was if you owned it on the PC, you got them for free. So that was always a bonus. And, just was the same game, but with updated graphics, slightly tweaks to the controls. Journey to the Savage Planet came out on a Switch, which we mentioned previously as well. Saints Row the Third Remastered came out. And now this was a nice version of Saints Row. The third, much tweaked on the graphics front to be suited to the last generation. So it came out a little bit late, I think, in the cycle, but at least we got it in the end. And Minecraft Dungeons came out as well, if you'd played that one. So it was basically, Minecraft, but it was more like a Minecraft world with a Diablo sort of play style. You didn't really do the building and stuff like that in there. It was more the shooting the monsters and, going through different dungeons.
There's one game that I tried to do a refund on as well.
Did you?
And it didn't allow me to do the refund.
Is that because
Man-Eater?
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
The shark game.
Yes. That one came out.
I found that a little bit tedious, to say the least.
It's supposed to be good.
I know maybe I need to give it another go.
Maybe you do.
It's had an Xbox Series X facelift, should we say?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Don't get me wrong. the idea of eating people was a pretty good idea, but playing as a shark. But yeah, I just didn't get to grips with it, and they reckon I played it too much.
Yeah, you have to do it less than 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. It's but yeah, no, I think that
it was that 36-hour play session where you got sick of it at the end of it. That's
I know. I don't think they should. I think, to be honest, I think they should change that slightly.
I don't know. I think 2 hours is fair enough, don't you think?
Well, you asked that for someone that plays Cyberpunk. So there's swings and roundabouts on that sort of idea. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I suppose so. Other game was the Elder Scrolls Grimoire. If you were into that, that was released. The BioShock collection. Did you get that, Steve?
I have that on that. I say this is on the Switch when it came out, but it's already been out. Was it a Switch? Wasn't it? Trying to see. Yeah, it was on the Switch. Yeah. I purchased that some time ago because it does gives you a remastered version of BioShock 2.
Yeah,
and I'd love to see that get an Xbox Series X facelift.
That would be good. The whole trilogy.
Oh man, that'd be great. They are again. That is one of the iconic games of the last 10 years, 10, 20 years.
20 years.
Is it 20 years now?
Will be. Is it about 2008 or something that it got released originally?
Yeah, because I can just look over there. I can see my BioShock 2 Special Edition collection sitting up there in the case. And yeah, it's one of those games that I can always go back to. The same I could do with something like Resident Evil.
BioShock 1, 21st of August 2017.
God.
13-year-old game.
And it still plays great.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's in the Xbox sale at the moment for about £7.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so well worth a shot for anybody's money.
What I did notice on CD keys, not BioShock, but another good franchise is, the Batman Arkham trilogy.
Yeah.
You can get that on PC for $3.99, the whole 3 games, which is tremendous value for money for PC.
I think I picked up the 3 of those as a collection on Xbox some time ago, and they did a remaster on one of them, maybe?
Did they remaster all 3?
Did they?
Yeah. I think. Because that was the whole point of that collection, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, there was the Borderlands Legendary Collection was released on the Switch as well. Borderlands always a good shooter to go for.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of them, to be honest. I played the first one, and then that was about it.
I do find that the levels are quite easy, and then the bosses are ridiculously hard in some cases. Not in all, but in some.
I don't know why. I mean, don't get me wrong, the play style and the look of the game, I shouldn't moan about really, because I do love Crackdown, which got that same sort. But I don't know, I just didn't.
Doesn't vibrate with it. Oh,
no.
Not vibrate.
It doesn't resonate.
Resonate. That's what I was meant to mean. Let me say resonate with you.
No. But yeah, a lot of people do love the games. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Switch as well. If you've ever played the Xenoblade sort of games, they're well worth a look. Sort of like mecha kind of games. So I was quite a bit of a fan of those on the Wii U on the last gen of Nintendo's. World events, we had a British and Kenyan scientists announce a discovery of a micro-poreal MB, a parasitic microbe from the fungi group that blocks mosquitoes from carrying malaria and potentially paving the way for control of malaria. So that's good health news. COVID, on the other hand, the UK death toll becomes the highest in Europe at 32,313 after exceeding a death toll of Italy of 29,029 set previously. And also astronomers announced the discovery of the first black hole located in a star system visible to the naked eye.
But don't put a space station next to it. It's not a good idea.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Celebrities wise, we lost Little Richard.
Yeah.
I was never a massive fan of.
I mean, he was from a different generation, mind you, but he was well renowned as an artist.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another one gone. So let's move on to our Christmas message, and this one's from Paul Wilson.
Well, ho, ho, ho. And let's be honest, who would not want free hosts for Christmas, eh? Just don't tell the wife. Anyway, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you both, and of course, Alan, and to all the listeners of the show. Keep up the great work. Such a fantastic podcast. Hugs and kisses just because they're free. From the tight-fisted Yorkshireman himself, Paul Wilson. All the best.
All right, so thank you, Paul. We're moving on to June now, so we're about halfway through the year. So, Steve, what's your picks for this month?
Okay, now this is going to be a bit of a scroll because I think the lists are getting longer now.
Yes, they certainly are.
Okay, so one thing comes to mind. I know it says the Switch, but I think 5th of June. But I think I thought that would have been. Did it come out at the same time as the Outer Worlds?
Yes.
Which I really did enjoy and really get into it, but something stopped me playing it, and I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was a sort of like unusual kind of game, wasn't it? Where weren't all of the worlds like really small sort of globes floating around that you could fly from one to the other two?
Yeah, it was definitely had that Bethesda feel of it.
Yeah.
Of an RPG, but we shouldn't knock it for being the idea of a game in space.
No.
And with some great weapons and bits and pieces, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it's a game I think a lot of us probably should go back to. Again, what else we got here? Just going through. Elder Scrolls Online had its debut on Stadia. Probably still has its debut on Stadia. What else we got here? We see Burnout Paradise Remaster on the Switch. Probably wouldn't need if it was going to be running on the Switch, it wouldn't need a remaster, would it, on that side screen?
And don't knock the Switch; it's a good console.
I think the biggest game, though, looking down here without ticking every game off, is going to be Last of Us Part 2.
Yes, which sort of like stole the show, didn't it, on the Game Awards this year? But
rightly so to a certain degree, I think.
But it wasn't without controversy either, was it?
Again, here we go down that rabbit hole again.
No, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about in terms of the character.
Yeah, but I know. But from again, this is the world we live in. Again, though, we get these storylines, don't we? That
yeah. Okay. So the male female lead is gay. Yeah, but that's kind of a byproduct of this. The issue there was a lot of
grief over this game on Twitter.
Yeah,
or should we say the internet more than anything? That people were getting a bum deal over this for making such a great game.
Yeah, I mean it's a fantastic game, and I'm really, I don't know. I just the controversy over this game was about the character of Ellie and about her choices, because there is an event that happens in the game.
Yeah, just say an event because I still haven't finished it.
Yeah, do you know what that event is?
I think is it early on in the game?
Not super early on, but about probably a little while in.
Is it before you run around on a horse?
It's before it's before you start going exploring.
Yeah, I've done all that bit. Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's still in the snow bit.
Yeah, I did all that bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what the emotional backstory for it is.
I was bummed out on that one.
Yeah, but in terms of all of that, sorry we're being cryptic for those of you who don't know haven't played it. And may want to play it.
They might get it Christmas, you see.
Yeah.
They might get it Christmas, so...
Might do. So we're being deliberately coy, but there is an emotional occurrence that happens in the game which sets Ellie off on this murderous genocidal rampage to chase down one particular woman who you also end up playing in the game. And the controversy over the game from a story perspective wasn't the fact that Ellie's gay. That's by the by. It's what you come to expect in games these days. It's more about was her emotional sort of journey really justified in terms of the storyline of where that story took us? Or was it disproportionate, seeing as that, she went and killed a whole load of people to get at one person? I mean, I completed this game. Did you complete it, Steve?
No, I think I'm still running around on the horse.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what percentage of games that is.
That's still a considerable way away. You've got hours and hours and hours.
Have I really? Because I've done a lot of the buildings. I've been through a lot of the buildings and done the exploration.
Yeah, well, you get to... there are 3 days that you live over twice, but from 2 different points of
perspective.
View.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You're going to have that other woman.
Yeah, you're going to have Ellie's perspective and also Abby's.
Yeah.
So you're going to live through both of their perspectives of what happens in the game.
I think the last place I went into was, a hotel, maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're miles away. You're absolutely miles away. Yeah.
God.
You're not even probably halfway through.
If it wasn't for this now, I'd go and throw it on just to have a look.
I don't think you're even halfway through, Steve. So you've got a long way to go.
Because it's still the disc is still in the tray.
You've got to get on that. I mean, you were the only one out of us to complete The Last of Us, because which is honestly, that you should go back and do. I think I have been trying to, but the game just does not resonate with me in the slightest.
I know the clickers gave you grief.
I just didn't enjoy it in that game. I don't know whether or not it was the way it was implemented or whatever, but
because they're in this one, aren't they? The clickers. So
yeah, they are.
It might help you to progress. That game.
Yeah. I mean, I got past the bottleneck area that I was in because I restarted the game from scratch again, which was about the 4th time that I've tried it. I tried it a couple of times on the previous gen.
Yeah, I don't think I finished the standalone content.
No.
When she was a kid.
Yeah.
As well. So it's wrong. He's beefing up this one, but they're just fantastic looking games.
Well, I mean, in terms of it as a story, you need to really play that standalone or the DLC or standalone content for it as well, because it directly links to the story this time.
But again, not enough time.
No,
for some of us. I don't have insomnia, unfortunately. But actually, these days, my night shifting that I've been doing, my body clock's all over the show right now.
Well, I mean, for me at the moment, in terms of insomnia, I still have that whole insomnia thing, but it's just a will to play games at the moment. I'm just, when you get into that sort of gaming funk, and it was last night is the first time in ages that I've sat down and just properly played a game for hours, and which was Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of other things have taken over from you from that. I'm not sure if that game is broken, or is it still broken? I know way off.
Fine.
We're way off because we could talk about this later when we get to December. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think the production that goes into some of these games, like The Last of Us Part 2, are astounding. Really, I think.
Yeah, it's a video gaming triumph in terms of production values.
If we're talking triple A, this is more like a quadruple A.
Yeah. Another game that was released on the PlayStation 4 and the Switch, which was a golden oldie, was Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So if you wanted to, you could relive the...
more Star Wars. No, don't do it to me.
You could relive the speed pod racing part of the original Episode 1. Oh, sorry, I say the original Episode 1, I should say. So, yeah, otherwise, world events, England retail parks, high streets and shopping centres welcome customers back while zoos and safari parks open the doors for the first time since March. So we were coming out of lockdown, and a 7.5 magnitude earthquake strikes the coast of Mexico and kills at least 4 people. It's felt more than 640 kilometres away in Mexico City.
And we lost a legend.
Yeah.
Same age as Kirk Douglas, believe it or not.
I thought she died years ago.
That's what I was going to say. She's 103. And for those that lived through World War II, will know Verlin very well.
Yeah.
Because she helped pull the country together for their music. And you can't knock that.
Very, very iconic sort of person.
And the only other thing in June is I know actually what we should have done, right? Maybe another year, we should add the films that come out.
Yeah.
As well as that. But obviously, we didn't have films coming out this year.
No, because I was going to add the films that came out as well. But when I was doing the research for the show, I just thought, well, to be honest, there really isn't much.
Because we're in June, aren't we? So June, my birthday, which is early June, and Wonder Woman was coming out in June. and I was waiting for that. Well, hopefully now I'll be able to get to watch it because I think it's going to be coming video on demand, so I'll get to see him. So, anyhow, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So we're in July. So, Steve, what's your choices for July?
Okay. I'm only going to say this because I love playing racing games. So F1 2020 is always well worth a shot. Trackmania, I remember that coming out on the Xbox as a game trial in development.
That was actually on PlayStation Plus as well later on, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I completed a game in July.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And that will be, well, I say July, but it says the Switch, but I think it probably came out as well. Catherine Full Body. And I completed that. I think I've completed about 4 different endings in that game.
Yeah.
So can I say I've completed 4 games in July?
Yeah.
Because I've completed it with different endings.
Did you... Well, technically speaking, if you started it from scratch again, then you are completing it 4 times, so you completed the same.
I think I was able to use different what's the word, strategic save points to go back to manipulate the timeline to get the other ending.
So you cheated, completed 4 games.
Yes, I did, yeah.
I did 10 games in this month.
10. I mean, I've got to say, I know people with the nighttime part of running around with a pillow under your arm on these puzzles was a bit tough. To be honest, there's no shame in putting it down to normal or to easy, just to go through the story content, to know the story, what Catherine's all about.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those madcap Japanese ideas.
Well, a game completion's a game completion, isn't it? It doesn't matter what level it is.
Oh, yeah. But I think it was a good game to play. I enjoyed it. And I'm glad from that point of view, we had that. I mean, it's the same way that I may at some point pick up Persona 5 if it's up for sale. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's in the PlayStation sales at the minute. Also here we had, Yukaza Kiwami 2 on the Xbox One. Another one I should probably go and have a visit to. Destroy Humans. Was that a remastered version?
That was a remaster, yeah.
Yeah. Just going through this here.
That was back from Destroy All Humans was a Xbox original game, wasn't it?
It was, and if you like me, you like a good Tim Burton movie, a good play on Mars Attacks.
Yeah, which it definitely was.
You know, what else we got here? I can't find anything else here unless I'm missing it. Anything stand out for you here that I might have missed?
The one for me that I never played that I really still want to is Marvel's Iron Man VR, which came out on the 3rd.
Yeah. Super Hot was a pretty decent game. That came out on Stadia, mind you, but it's been out for a while on other platforms.
Yeah, and you can play that in VR or not VR.
Oh yeah, that might be just too much for the senses, I think.
Maybe. Another one that I played, it came out on iOS, but I played it on other platforms later, was Thornbreaker, The Witch's Tales, which there was several different endings to that game. And basically it was the play style was you choose an option 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then that progresses a story. It was like a graphical version of those books where you used to have a choice and you used to choose what you wanted to go to next. You'd like go page 27 and you go to page 27 and read them, that bit, and then be another choice and go on somewhere. Do you remember those sort of books that were popular in the 80s?
Yeah.
Late 70s. Well, it was that sort of kind of game. Crisis Remastered was released on the Switch, which is a miracle when you consider that was the de facto way of testing how powerful a PC is, that it would actually run on a Switch.
Really?
Well, it was for years, yeah. It was like the ultimate test was, would your PC gaming rig run Crisis? But you're talking about, early 2000s when you were sort of looking at that. It wasn't, it's been quite easily achievable by PCs for years. But the big one for me, and it only, I think, won one award in the Game Awards, was Ghost of Tsushima, which was...
Did it come out? I can't see that there. Am I looking?
Yeah, it came out 17th of July. Yeah, it's just below Super Hot, Mind Control Delete.
Deadly Silence, where I find it.
It came out in July, trust me, because I finished it by the 1st of August. And it was quite an easy platinum, if a bit grindy.
Oh, do you think so? Yeah?
Yeah. It's definitely an easy platinum to get. It's, it's achievable. You don't need mega quick reactions and stuff like that. Oh,
there it is. I do apologize. I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah. But definitely for me, it was a fantastic game. It was the Assassin's Creed game with samurais we've been wanting. It just wasn't Assassin's Creed.
That never was.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, actually, this was Sony showing Ubisoft how to actually do an Assassin's Creed game,
and to bring a game out that's not broken.
Yeah, and it was, and graphically, it was fantastic. Absolutely,
I think on the Pro, it really. I don't know whether the 4 would have been very similar, but graphically wise, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. And
some of the colours that they brought out with the sunsets and the trees and the grass, I just think they did an outstanding job. Whether you should say that game of the year compared to Last of Us Part 2 is a fine line between both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this was two months on the trot of Sony really, how can I put it, giving a swan song to the PlayStation 4 and, sending it out on a high. And it was fantastic, was Ghost of Tsushima. And it really needs a remaster for the 5. Definitely.
Yeah, for you guys with the PS5, that would probably look... I mean, it looks amazing anyway. I can't see how much better it's going to look, to be honest.
Well, with ray tracing, it must look better because it looked like it had ray tracing and it didn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it looks so good anyway. I can't imagine that being how can they improve it? It's one of those sort of games that they push the boundaries over the PlayStation 4 into the 5 without actually going on the 5 itself.
Yeah, and I mean, my Pro sounded like it was trying to be a helicopter lifting up the Houses of Parliament, but it was still a fantastic game. If I was just a bit concerned that my Pro would blow up.
I just think I think for someone like me, I don't know yourself, that loves Japanese movies, it really paid homage to that as well.
Yeah, because it had the whole mode where you could play in different modes, some of which was like graphically in the play style, in the style of one of the Japanese directors, but you could also play it with the original Japanese and English subtitles, or just Japanese.
Yeah, I think I'm playing it with the Japanese subtitles, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
I'd have to go. I'm sure I put that on. But it's well worth. We've not even really said that we're doing a top 5, are we, to be honest?
No.
But if there was to be one, it would be difficult not to put this number 1.
Very difficult. And the only one that would possibly tumble it off would be probably The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, I think there's another game that I've played 40 hours of in this past month that might nick it even to a certain degree, but I'm not going to say what that game is just right now.
Okay.
That sounds a bit bizarre, but yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I'm sorry, FIFA 2021's just not going to cut it.
I played that. I was playing that last night, actually, funny enough. But no, I think this is a fantastic game, and rightly so. It was the highlight of the month without a search. Even though, as I say, Catherine Full Body for me was the game I completed that month.
Definitely.
Which is a rarity in itself because of my Destiny fix. But yeah, no. I think you can't praise that game enough, and it is. I still think it's a shame that they can't bring that to Xbox.
Yes. Yeah.
That, I think, is a crime in its own. And forget all these fanboys. Oh, it's an exclusive. Fingers up to the Xbox. Sorry. These days, I think we should have games flying both ways. And I know Sony are more of an arse than Xbox are these days, to be honest. With the idea of, we don't like to interact between the two platforms. I think it's just a travesty, really. But you never know. I mean, I think, didn't we get one of the Mass Effects eventually playing on the PlayStation at one point or something?
Well, Mass Effect 1 was Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Went to PlayStation in the end.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Things can happen.
But that was a third party, whereas I think that Ghost of Tsushima was first party, wasn't it?
Possibly, yeah. But it would make him a shed load of money.
Anyway, let's move on to world events. So 15th of July, we had Twitter accounts of prominent political figures, CEOs and celebrities are hacked to promote a Bitcoin scam. I don't remember this at all.
No, I don't, actually.
No.
I know Bitcoin is still a thing at the minute.
Yeah.
And I can't be asked with all of it, to be honest. I don't like to be zooped. I mean, it is a thing. And apparently it does work, but I still think you're playing with digital things that don't really exist.
I think that the wild west of the Bitcoin front has long since passed. Though it's not something you're going to earn a lot of money in quickly. No.
You're probably putting shares in Amazon, to be honest.
Probably.
You know what I mean? But, yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end of the month, NASA successfully launches its Mars rover mission to search for signs of ancient life and collect samples to return to Earth. The mission includes technology demonstrations to prepare for human missions. And then I think you probably want to say about the person we lost.
Absolutely devastated. The guy fell down the stairs, which when you're at age of 91 isn't a good thing.
No.
And he did come back from that, and that was Ennio Morricone, who is beloved in the world of film and music like you wouldn't believe. I think he is one of the gods. You would class him up there.
Yeah.
from the start of his career early on with the Italian spaghetti western trilogies that he was dealing with, moving swiftly on through the years, and still up to now done some fantastic scores. Will never be forgotten. I think there's a big handful of people that bring the music to film. And he was one of the top ones, and he will never be forgotten. And I still play his music today, and I've recently picked up some vinyl that I've been hunting for a while that's been out on Record Store Day. And yeah, it's a real shame.
Yeah, thinking of celebrities who literally have fallen, I noticed on the Battlestar Galactica fan and costuming club UK Facebook group, because I am a member of that, that Michael Hogan, who played Colonel Ty, had been at a convention and fallen and had done a head injury, and he's been in a really bad way with it, and he's sort of like not being able to talk properly. And
well, no, it's a shock. It's awful that when you're kicking an age like that, a fall can be devastating.
Yeah, and it evidently has been for him. And there was a really nice message put on there by the family about, his progress. And, it's like progress for him is now eating 2 meals a day, which is minced food and not pulverized. So, God, he must have had a hell of a fall at a convention to be in such a state. But evidently he's joking and stuff like that, but he doesn't have much stamina and anything. But it's terrible that he's gone to a convention to see the fans and he's had this fall and ended up like that. But life deals funny blows. Look at Schumacher.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the background ever since the skiing accident.
Yeah, nobody knows really, other than his family, how he's getting on. But not good. Anyway,
no.
Let's have a quick message from our very own Mark Smith.
Hi guys, Mark here. I just wanted to wish all the Pop Culture Gamer crew a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Keep gaming, guys.
Okay, August, so we're rocking up to the time of the big launch. So, Steve, what's your take?
Okay, so a quick scroll down. We have got, shall I say, and the first in a long time, is we actually got a decent golf game. So August the 21st, we had PGA Tour 2K21, which I need to go back to because a friend of mine wanted to play that online. We haven't had a decent golf game for some time. EA normally held the mantle, and I think they did a pretty good job with that one. Sports games aren't your forte, are they?
No,
Haydn. But yeah, that looks great. That was pretty good to do. I'm just seeing, is there a lot coming out? And as I'm just scrolling through here, there's a lot of stuff here that passed me by, unfortunately. What have we got here? There's some, that's a nice where you're heading on to at the minute. I'm still waiting for Microsoft Flight Simulator on the Xbox. Because I want to fly a plane.
I thought that was out now.
Not till the summer, apparently. Roughly, I've heard. So I have heard about that. Not a great deal there coming out for me.
No, I'm just trying to look and see what there is for me in here. There is, for those of you who remember Zero Dawn, or the proper pronunciation, Horizon Zero Dawn, came out on the PC, which was yet another PlayStation exclusive that has managed to get its way onto PC.
It's had a bit of a rough ride as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of people complaining it wasn't working on their systems.
Oh, this sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah. But evidently, if you're on a super high-end PC, these problems hardly manifested themselves.
And since then, they've been looked up in high regard since that sort of bad start for them with that game.
Yeah, I think that they've done a lot to get the game working properly. Deliver Us the Moon, which came out on the Switch, but I think also around this time also came out on Game Pass, which was a sort of like nice, kind of gentle story. I can't remember. It was something about Earth was in eco crisis or whatever, and you had to get to the moon for some reason. And Microsoft Flight Simulator came out on the PC as well, which I did try. I remember being very frustrated by the fact that it was said on the Xbox app pre-download, so I pre-downloaded it, and then when I did pre-download it,
it was still trying to pre-download.
It downloaded the downloader, not downloaded the game. But the downloader was like 20 gigs or something or other like that. And then you had to download another 100 gigs in order to play the game, which was utterly ridiculous.
So have you re-downloaded it for your Uber PC now?
No, I can't be bothered with it. I played with it. I played it. I thought there was a reason why I never played Microsoft Flight Simulator much before, and that's because it's if you know what I mean, it's a very accurate sort of simulator. I mean, I was reading people posted on, on the different groups to say, anybody know where to put the interior light on a Cessna, whatever, stuff like that, and trying to find manuals for these aircrafts. And I just thought, I can't be bothered with that. It's just too much of a learning curve.
I'm sure there is like a newbie mode in there where you can just get the plane up in the air if you wanted to?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
And if you wanted to recreate your cockpit in your lounge, with all those monitors there.
Yeah, I'm sure
some people have done it. Some people have done it.
Yeah, well, I could do it quite easily.
Get their wife to be the hostess.
Who misses. Yeah.
I still want to give it a go. I mean, I suppose most people will fly around their house. For me, I think for geography point of view, and it will look so good on the Series X when it comes out, is to go to some of the places you've never been to in the world that you'd love to go to.
Yeah.
And to see from a bird's eye view of them. Like going around the Grand Canyon, flying over probably Sydney, Australia, maybe, just places that you've not seen to give you a better perspective, or even get on a little biplane and fly down close to the sea, down in Singapore, down through the waters there, around some of the rocks, and around Scaramanga's hideout. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, that would be quite nice, wouldn't it?
So I think there's different ways to play this game, or what to have a look at. But I think I'm really looking forward to it. Heavens, how big that download file is going to be for the Xbox, I do not know. That frightens me a little bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Other games, Vader Immortal on PSVR. I really want to play that game. I haven't played it yet.
Nothing to do with Star Wars out there?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh, what a surprise. I'm surprised there's not a Mandalorian game out yet. Come on.
I'm sure that will come out. And I'll tell you what, you take the mick out of the Mandalorian, you want to play that game. Play that game.
No, I've seen some of the spoilers for the latest episode, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen some images which I've then suddenly just clicked off. So I'm well aware that it was worth a watch, just to get that little bit of fandom that's in it. But yeah,
yeah, I think I must have been getting it mixed up, because I think Tell Me Why is actually the game I thought Life is Strange 2 was.
Really?
Yeah, so apologies for that, but Tell Me Why was the one with the transgender main character, and it had a good narrative, and that was...
Wasn't there looking at, just quickly going back to this, just because we can.
Yeah.
Hold on. So I get rid of that because I had a load of speakers flying through my head then on that. Didn't they have the small demo game that came out leading to Life is Strange 2?
It was Captain something or other, wasn't it?
That's it, yeah.
The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
That's right.
So Life is Strange 2 was about a 16-year-old Sean Diaz lives with his 9-year-old brother Daniel in Seattle. And after Sean's mother, Karen, left them following Daniel's birth one day, Sean intervenes with it when their neighbour Brett harasses Daniel, inadvertently injuring Brett as a police officer passes by. I don't remember that game. I don't think I must have played Life is Strange 2. I think it must have been one on the list to play that I never did. But tell me why. That was the one I was thinking was Life is Strange 2 because it plays very similar.
Yeah. I think Life is Strange did get more than one game. I think there was another edition came out maybe with a bit more information on it.
Yeah.
But Life is Strange is still for me. That was great for its time.
Yeah, I know why I'm getting them mixed up because they're both made by the same developer. So it's Don't Nod Entertainment to the developers for both games. That's why I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah.
So this was the one that I played the first 2 chapters of, and I never finished the third one because it was also available on Game Pass as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to sit down there and just not use your controller for a lot and just point and click, as they say.
Yeah, but it's an entertaining story.
Yeah.
So world events, we had Africa is declared free of wild polio, the second virus to be eradicated from the continent in smallpox 40 years ago. And Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos becomes the first person in history to have a net worth exceeding 200 billion, according to Forbes.
Mm.
And evidently, Bill Gates is now the 3rd richest person in the world as well because he's been overtaken by Elon Musk.
And he's not short of a few bob, is he?
No, definitely not. I think that the one thing that happened in August, though, that really shook everybody was the fact that Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther, died at the age of 43.
Wasn't a well man, was he?
No, and evidently when he was playing filming Black Panther, he was going through chemo, but not even a directing you. And when you look at how physically demanding that was, that as a role, and his whole part in Avengers, and the fact that there was, I'd watched some videos of him going and seeing kids with cancer and stuff like that, and he would get very emotional, and everybody was just taking it, he's just an emotional sort of guy, but it's obviously it was hitting home so much, and he was giving so much as an actor that the guy really was a hero in a literal sense of the word from that sort of perspective, because of what he did to support people in a similar position, even though he was so desperately ill himself. I think he was a good actor. Marvel are evidently not going to refill his role. It's definitely not going to go to his on-screen sister, who has been saying that the government is, with the vaccine, going to be injecting the new 5G network towers in people, and it's to monitor you and stuff like that. Evidently she's been posting some very weird stuff, which Disney has not taken favourably to, and is evidently not going to be making her into the replacement Black Panther, which she was tipped to be.
I mean, it's as much as everyone's trying to get around the COVID idea, and we're getting through this idea of getting the an injection to help get through this. But cancer is a thing that I think is something that is going to be pain in our ass for years to come still.
Yeah. It's not the death sentence it used to be. If you used to have any form of cancer years ago, that was it. You were gone.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cancers that they can cure if they get them early
Well,
enough now.
I was reading a report this Christmas about Olivia Newton-John, and she's been battling with that for years and getting past it. Unfortunately, she's now in stage 4. And that means there's no turning back, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
I mean, she gave a Christmas message, bless her, on her YouTube channel. And she's a wonderful woman. And, you know, unfortunately for her, it's going to come to a grisly end at some point now.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hate that. I know friends of mine that have had cancer, and my wife's mum has been through it. She got through it, and now she's got back to some more tests for another problem. But it's not good, no.
It's an awful
Anyhow,
illness.
September.
Yeah, so what's your picks?
Okay. Was there much out in September? I know Destiny got delayed, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer, because I was really looking forward to that. Spelunky 2 I wasn't really keen on. I weren't a fan as original, to be honest. Wasn't my cup of tea. I don't know about yourself. I was really disappointed with Marvel Avengers.
Did you play it?
I played the demo, and that was gladly enough to play, to be honest.
Right.
I think I played it on the PlayStation. I think that came out there as a exclusive. I might be wrong.
No, it was on all platforms.
Was it on all platforms?
One of the characters which is yet to be released is Spider-Man, which was exclusive to PlayStation. Which was
there we go again.
Big controversies.
PlayStation again, just not playing ball anymore, are they?
Well, it's Sony owns the right to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit of and it's weird how they was allowed to use him for the films, isn't it? The way that went.
Because there was all of that, I think, over this time as well, about whether or not Spider-Man would be allowed on the next MCU sort of releases.
That's correct. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? We had a few things come out that we've already talked about before. A lot of stuff was coming out on Switch previously on other platforms. I can't see too much there. Tennis World Tour 2, I think I did play that for a bit. So I think that was a bit of a bummer, because I was waiting to play Destiny with the new content. So I don't think I was playing much else, actually, to be honest.
There was the Outer Worlds DLC as well.
Again, yeah, I say it's well worth going back to that game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if you were on Stadia, Hitman 1 and 2 would have been real highlights of the month, because I love the Hitman series. I played Marvel Avengers. I completed the campaign. As a game for a single player campaign, Was
it all right?
I was happy with it. I would have preferred it to have not been a full price game, but you know, because I wasn't bothered about all of the other content. But as a story, it was okay. It gives you the introduction to the character of Ms. Marvel, who's obviously the first sort of Indian superhero that has been introduced, and they are actually going to be introducing the character into the MCU as well. So it was a good sort of introduction to everybody who didn't know who she was before. I'm not convinced on the longevity of it as a game on demand service, because
they thought this was going to be like sort of the next Destiny, didn't they?
Yeah, and it
because Marvel is such a big thing in the cinema industry.
Yeah.
That they thought they could then transpose that into the gaming industry, but I don't think so.
No. And I think that they're trying to go in a completely different way into an already crowded place because you've got, let's think about all of the sort of like games that are there. You've got World of Tanks, you've got Destiny, you've got now Call of Duty doing the seasons, you've got Fortnite, you've got PUBG, and that's just to name just a few of those sort of games.
And what was the EA one they had with the mech robots?
Oh, Anthem as well,
yeah.
which evidently is making good progress.
Oh, really?
Yeah, while it's like lost 90% of its player base, it's still they're still developing that game, and I've started to pick that up recently as well. So
the market's pretty flooded there, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, you can't have more than one or two of those type of games in your portfolio and keep up to date with all of them and still play other stuff. You've got to be selective.
You can only play one. I still think you can only play one of those, and then other things on top of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think two of those. I mean, with content releases for the games and how they bring expansions or updates.
I mean, you look, even games like StarCraft 2 still release, have seasonal sort of content, and Diablo as well. So there's all of these sort of ones that are still there and, all drawing people away. So I think that I think they should have just released it as a single player game and maybe released it as a slightly cheaper rate. Other games this month, we had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 as a combo pack. I want to try that one. I used to like the old Tony Hawk's games. I have no desire to play this, but I thought I'd highlight it because of your love for Star Wars, which is the Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu game pack for the Sims.
No.
Yeah.
No. Really?
Really?
FFS.
Yeah. And I already mentioned the Outer Worlds, Peril on Gorgon DLC as well, which Alan played as well, didn't he? And he enjoyed that one.
I got to say, there's something I used to play back in the day on older PCs, and that was Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
Yeah,
I used to enjoy that.
Yeah, that used to be good. Well, you can actually play. There's a new Roller Coaster one, isn't there, on Game Pass?
I looked at it, but then deleted it. I haven't got time for that right now.
All right, fair enough. Another big game which we've not covered, and I've just picked.
Are you going to talk about Hades by any chance?
Yeah.
Oh, good guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I highlighted it. Yeah.
No. But what I'm saying, it's in this list, but highlighted or not.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, and I think it picked up 1 or 2 awards in the Game Awards, so it was certainly nominated. And this looks like a sort of Diablo kind of game. I'm quite intrigued. So I've picked this up on PC, but I kind of was a bit, it was one of those ones I was a bit, shall I or shan't I? And then Epic gave me a £10 gift card and it was on sale. Okay. Coupon, and it was on sale. So I, decided, right, okay, I'll pick it up. So I've picked it up for, less than a tenner sort of thing. So I'm quite...
As I say, this isn't on console yet either.
No, it isn't. It's just on PC. But I don't think the demands on it. Yeah, I don't think the demands on PC is going to be tremendous.
No.
Ori the Will of the Wisps appeared on the Switch. Crisis Remastered actually appeared on PlayStation, Xbox One, and PC. It was unusual. It was released on the Switch first, but hey ho. Super Mario 3D All Stars was released on the Switch, and Stadia and PC. And I really want to try this game out. Is Serious Sam 4 because I was a big Serious Sam fan back in the day. Did you ever play Serious Sam?
I don't know. It rings a bell.
It had headless guys holding bombs, chasing after you, going.
That doesn't remind me whatsoever, but I'm going to take your word for it. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Fair
World
enough.
Rally 9 came out. Blimey, didn't even know there was 9 of them now. Because racing games are few and far between these days.
They are, definitely. Dying breed.
Mafia, did you get to play Mafia Definitive Edition?
I am playing Mafia Definitive Edition. I've got the trilogy.
Yeah.
And it is a really nice looking game. The world looks alive unless you actually get out of the car and start walking around and realise there's not much to do. But there is still a full Mafia story there, and there's slightly tweaked controls from the original. You know, 1 or 2 things have been shaped and rebaked, but it's a good game. Definitely worth picking up. And I think you can get the trilogy for like 16 quid on sales on the Xbox store, which is tremendously good value for money if you like that sort of game. World events, we had the Royal Astronomical Society announce detection of a photosphere in Venus's atmosphere, which is known to be a strong predictor of the presence of microbial life. So we might not be the only life in the universe, just might not be intelligent. As you can tell whenever you watch The Only Way is Essex. Microsoft.
I'm glad I haven't actually. So you just said something. You've actually watched that, haven't you? Come on.
No. I'm just aware of the show. I'm just aware of the show. I've watched about 10 seconds of it, and that was more than enough for me. That was 10 seconds of my life I won't get back. Microsoft agrees to buy out video game company ZeniMax Media, which included Bethesda, and their following works for $7.5 billion, which is the largest and most expensive takeover in the history of video game industry. So now we know that more Microsoft titles are going to be released that are broken.
And it's not going to go to PlayStation. So considering what was about earlier,
it may not go to PlayStation. We don't know. They said they're going to honour everything that they've already honoured.
They got that not Deadpool, but they got that one it's on an exclusive to PS4 from Bethesda at the minute. So they got something, haven't they?
Yeah. And we lost Diana Rigg at the age of 82.
Again, another Bond girl of her time.
Yeah, Mrs. Bond, the definitive Bond girl.
Yes, she was.
Mrs. Bond.
Yeah, with Mr. Lazenby.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, it's iconic. You got these iconic actresses that are unfortunately passing away now. But I think we're getting them every month now, aren't we? We are. We're going to continue for some time. Yeah, I'm touch wood that I think Christmas has been pretty kind to celebrities with deaths this Christmas. Yeah, that's considering the way the world's rocking at the moment. Well, considering a couple of years ago we lost Carrie Fisher at Christmas. Yeah. God, it's just outrageous, isn't it? Anyway, let's listen to Nick Wilson's Christmas message.
Hi, Haydn and Steve. Nick Wilson here. Wow, 2020's been a bit rubbish, hasn't it? Thank Kratos it's nearly over. At least we have new consoles and a whole new generation of games and fanboy wars to look forward to in the next 12 months. But seriously, thanks for all the effort you've put into recording great podcasts for us to listen to over the last 3 years even. So just wishing you both a happy Christmas and a Merry New Year! Oh, and Return of the Jedi is better than Empire. It just is. Come at me. All right, thanks very much, Nick. And hope your streaming channel continues to grow. Anyway, October. So, Steve, what's your choices? God, where do we start? Do I start with FIFA? If you must. No, I think we're getting closer now to the release of some other stuff. But, there's a few bits and pieces in there. So, FIFA 21, did I pick up on release? I think I just waited a little while, actually. What else have we got here? So look. Torchlight 3. I haven't not played that yet. Have you dug into that one at all? Which one, sorry? Torchlight 3. No, I haven't played it. What else have we got here? Just going through, because my mouse is now not working on my PC because the wheel's gone soft. Typical. Look, that's what she said, was it?
Yeah. Something I haven't played, I still don't think I'm going to get to play is Watch Dogs Legions. Is that still broken?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe it's watching too many of YouTube videos and how games aren't working doesn't help.
I think the thing is that nowadays the problem that we get is that you watch these videos and then they get, labelled as a problem game, but they're not any longer because they've been fixed. So No Man's Sky is a perfect example how that game has developed over the last few years, and Hello Games, you've got to hand it to them for the support of that. The Batman Arkham Knight game, another example, or
because of
Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, all of those games were all considered to be broken, but when they're fixed, they're actually good games.
Yeah, I mean, some games aren't broken for different people. I think, was it Unity? No, which one was Unity? Was that in France? Or
France.
So in the first 10 minutes of the game, wasn't it? People were seeing eyeballs and sort of all sorts of weird characters split apart on the screen.
Yeah, and that was on CD keys for 80p on Xbox the other day.
Yeah,
that's a heck of a game to play.
It is. It is well worth playing. So yeah, I think broken games per se is got a bit much these days.
Yeah,
it's but I'm not sure. Watch Dogs Legions, I think having one RPG in my life right now is enough. I think I'd rather run around another one than that at the moment. Whether I get to that when it goes down in price to a hell of a low price to maybe pick it up.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be much. I think it's not bad running around London.
No.
You know what I mean? It's because at least we got, we've had that in Assassin's Creed, but that was obviously in Victorian time, not Victorian, sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever era that was. So, but actually, there is a hell of a lot of games out here. Age of Empires 3.
Yeah, I'd pick that one up. Yeah.
Definitely one to go to. Star Wars game there. Look, God, another one.
Star Wars Squadrons. I played that on the PlayStation 4.
You did?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard bad things about that. Again, it's saying that, the flying mechanisms aren't working well in it.
Not had that problem.
No.
I think that's just people can't play properly, to be honest.
Could be. I mean, yeah, we do get that problem. We're all not, But the older you get, the harder it gets. But I some things I still don't have a problem with is that. I can't think of anything else, to be honest with you. It's all just gearing up for November, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can I just say about FIFA, though?
Yeah.
I've been playing that over. Well, it was just over the last day, so I was away for Christmas Day, but back in time for the COVID switch. But I was doing something where you have to build squads to earn packs, and so you take your players there. You're given certain attributes to put 11 people on the roster to tick certain boxes on whether or not you get 5-star, whether or not you got a min and max on the style of play and what they're doing, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth, without going into too much detail. But one thing I didn't realise, and I looked into Reddit, and actually, some of us, we just don't read those screens when we have pop-ups on games these days when they say, if you do this, do you realise you're going to lose all these players in your team? So I've been playing this for about an hour, unlocking other packs, bits and pieces. I went to go back to playing the game, and I realised that half my squad were missing because I was using those to to do these little challenges. So I have now lost the bulk of my best team, and have now got to grind myself up with coins to rebuy those players. It doesn't matter too much. I mean, it'll take a little time to get them back. because I can go back on the transfer market and pick them up there. But yeah, something I didn't realise, and just make sure you read those little pop-up boxes and just say, yeah, okay, whatever, because I think we all tend to do things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying playing FIFA, loving it on the Xbox Series X as well, because it looks amazing. It's gorgeous looking.
Yeah. So just like you get hardware with RTFM, when you play a game, RTFS, read the flipping screen.
But do you want to move on? Anything else you want to stand out there?
Yeah, a couple of ones. I mentioned about Star Wars Squadrons. It's a good game, good campaign. I've not gone on to the 5x5, online battle mode at all.
Yeah,
it just doesn't interest me in any way, shape, or form. But quite enjoying the campaign. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit on the Switch was released. And also Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which had previously been released on the Switch, also came out. Switch got another good game, Control, which is sort of seen a resurgence, because I remember saying about Control when it first came out, because I picked it up and I was sort of like raving about this game, and everybody was a bit... and suddenly the game seems to have had a resurgence, and everybody seems to have thought it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, I think it's only because it's now free on Games for Gold.
Probably.
Sorry, on Game Pass. And I've only played 10 minutes of the game, I must admit.
Yeah, but it's set in the Alan Wake universe for a start off, and it's by the same people who did Alan Wake.
It is, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's a really good game. I've actually got it on PC, on Steam, let alone on Game Pass to play as well. And another good game that was released is the Dark Pictures anthology, Little Hope, which is the next one in that anthology of games that's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, which is very much like the Until Dawn sort of delivery type of game. World events, we had NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft touches down on Bennu, becoming the agency's first probe to retrieve samples from an asteroid, with its cargo due to return to Earth in 2023. So in 2024, we all die of an unknown spaceborne virus. In October the 22nd as well, the Geneva Consensus Declaration of Promoting Women's Health and Strengthening the Family is signed by representatives from 34 countries, which is all about, equality for women, which is absolutely brilliant. And on the 26th, NASA confirms the existence of molecular water on the sunlit side of the moon near the Clavius crater, which evidently contains up to 412 parts per million in water. So celebrities we lost Eddie Van Halen at 65, Johnny Nash at 80, and the big one, Sir Sean Connery at the age of 90.
I think that was the biggest blur of all. No disrespect to the others.
Yeah.
A real shame. I mean, he'd been into hiding. He's been a bit of a recluse over the years. And I think it looks like it was dementia that probably took its toll on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what can you say? The man has done so many movies that weren't even Bond. We could be here again all day talking about Sean Connery. Just a great loss, but he will live on with what he produced out on the big screen for us.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it comes to us all, doesn't it? There's nothing more that we can really say.
No, but he will be sadly missed, but we can just relive what he's done.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, should we move on to November? What's your picks for the month?
November. So
this was a big month with the console releases, obviously.
Yeah, do you want to talk about them first of all before we go into the games? I don't know if you plan to do that or... I know we can. I don't think we should need to go over old ground.
No,
because I think But I've got to ask you the question because obviously I picked up the Series X only, but you've got an Uber PC, you've got the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. Where have you been spending your time the most on out of the three of them?
PlayStation 5.
It's got to be hard.
It's the PlayStation 5, to be fair. Because I loved the Spider-Man game, which was obviously released this month. The Miles Morales, and I've also got the normal Spider-Man remastered version as well, which is my main PlayStation 5 game. But I actually really like the controller. There were a lot of games that came free in the PlayStation Plus sort of choice things that they came. A lot of them I already had, but for me, I felt that the Xbox Series X felt like it got a new graphics card, whereas the PlayStation 5 felt like it got a new console. Because disappointingly, I've got to be honest. Probably my bigger love is with Xbox, but I think that as a next gen inverted commas experience, PlayStation nailed it. They had the new style controller with the new haptic feedback, whereas you look at the Xbox, with the exception of a slightly tapered edges and a share button, which was completely useless to me anyway because I already had the chat pad and I had two buttons already set up, one for sharing video, one for recording video, one for recording a picture. That controller didn't do anything new. And the operating system is exactly the same. And I know what you can say as an argument is they've made the ecosystem so that it's all encompassing. So
I suppose if it ain't fixed, I mean, if it ain't fixed, don't break it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean by having a new feel, which then makes it feel like it's a new console.
Yeah.
Because you've got the different menu systems and that. Maybe we'll get that on the Xbox in a later update.
I'm sure it'll come.
But there's no taking away that unfortunately the Xbox did lose its main game to come out with it, which was Halo Infinite, which is a real shame. But from what we saw of it, rightly so that it's now not coming out. Looks like it's going to be November the 20th, which would be the anniversary for Halo, which would be about right, if all goes well. And we are going to see a few games pop up in the next month or two, which will then probably make it feel like we've got a new console. It was a shame that there wasn't many games to come out. I know, again, fanboyism and all this, that, PlayStation brought out more games. Kudos to them for doing it. It's just one of those things, unfortunately, and we're going to see some games come out and some updates that are going to appreciate the Xbox later.
Yeah. We're going to see the same for both of the consoles. And they're both great consoles. I'm not knocking Xbox. Don't think I am, because it's a great console. I just think as a traditional next gen, you're used to with the next gen, it feels new, and it just felt too familiar. Whereas Sony made it familiar but changed a few things around. In terms of the interface, I love some of the new bits that are on the interface as well, like the jumping straight into a game, into a challenge. So, for example, if you think about the Spider-Man game, as you know, there are combat challenges, stuff like that. Which, if you wanted to do that in the old game, what you could do is just swing to where that challenge is and start it. But because of the innovations in the new version of the game and the things that they've built in, you can actually go onto the card system that they have, and you can actually just say, I want to do the combat challenge, and it'll take you straight to that bit, so you don't have to do that manoeuvring around the world.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be things like, if you get stuck on an area that, you know, providers will be able to do helping videos and stuff like that. So
again, that will be quite good. That will be up to the developer.
Yeah.
Whether they want to add that into a game. Now,
and I'm sure that Xbox will copy that.
Well, I do, from the Xbox point of view, I do like the quick resume.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Obviously, the speed of the machine from the point of view from, if we say Destiny, for example. Now that I'm obviously seeing something that you've seen for quite a while, where it takes about a minute to get from start of the game to get onto the first planet you want to go to, which is ridiculous. Now it is. Yeah,
but we think about when we tried to record this before, where we had technical failures, and then afterwards we did a bit of screen sharing. How quick did my PC load it? It was even quicker than the Series X.
Oh, obviously it will be. It's probably
But that was off hard drive. That's loading the game off hard drive. That's not off an SSD.
Yeah. But for what console players are going to be getting from that point of view, graphically, giving some games like Gears of 5 a bit of a clean, that looks amazing. The same for Xbox. That didn't get it till Xbox. Destiny didn't get the update until December. I think it was it December, wasn't it? And that looks amazing now. I mean, on the big screen, that just looks so good.
I mean, linking in with that and doing as a segue into the games, I received Assassin's Creed Valhalla a couple of days early. And if you remember at the time, this was when we went into second lockdown as well. And my Xbox had been sent away a couple of days beforehand to
CX
fixed, by CX, because PSU had got my Xbox Series X, Xbox One X, and it was a couple of days before the launch of the Series X. And because I did a click and collect service, I was able to get my fixed Xbox One X back. And I put on a group, should I start Valhalla or not? Because I already had it. I had it about 3 or 4 days early, thanks to Shot 2, sending it out early. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to try it. And the reason why I'm going to try it was entirely because of the new console. Because I know that there was this whole argument, and I think you were on the side of, just have the new experience. But I wanted to see what the difference was between.
To be honest, I mean, some people were poo-pooing. I'm not going to do the new DLC, the new content for Destiny yet, because I want to play it when it comes out with its all, 60 frames, 4K, and blah blah blah. So, but I then went obviously straight into that beforehand.
Yeah,
and I haven't started one of my other characters with the storyline, which I may well do, but. I agree with you from that point of view to see the difference.
Yeah,
and even without my glasses on, I can see that it's a huge upgrade.
Yeah, and
visually, and how smooth the game runs,
Yeah, and it's the same with Valhalla, and there was much more life in the colouring of the characters and the detail that was in there and all of that sort of stuff. But it wasn't huge, which is kind of why when I also played Spider-Man on the PS5, that city really has popped from the previous gen. And that's
what's that down to? That's not down to the console. That's down to the developer and the game itself.
Yeah, it is. And Ubisoft will have dumbed down the Series X version, probably. But I mean, there's been fantastic games, released this month. We had Gears 5 on a Series X and S, which
when I first played that, and I physically did feel a bit wheezy.
Yeah.
To the point that I had to get used to that.
Yeah.
But graphically as well, that just popped out and exploded in my face.
And that was already a beautiful game on the PS.
It was,
Series. The One X.
Yeah, and the same for Forza Horizon 4. I don't know if you've.
Yeah, I've tried that one. Yeah,
the cars look just incredible, and the landscape.
Absolutely.
What other games there which were probably I haven't tried Ori yet, Will of the Wisps, to see the difference. I haven't tried that.
That does look really good. Really good. I mentioned before about Bright Memory, so I won't go over that again, but definitely worth a look as well. There was Borderlands 3 had the Series X and S treatment as well. Not really sure how much that's going to look better, but No Man's Sky does look like a visual improvement.
Yeah.
And especially, again, hands up to Hello Games for everything that they're doing with that game. It's fantastic. Tetris Effect Connected, which is the Xbox Series X and One and PC
so
version.
That's the first time I played that game.
Yeah. Now, I think that this game is ruined by the difficulty curve because it goes from easy, ultra unrealistic.
Yeah.
When you get to about level 14 or something like that, the curve, it's just it goes up beyond exponential. It's just a straight line up.
Yeah.
And it ruins the game for me.
Yeah. But if we just then think how visual that looks.
Oh, so but I reckon even though it looks visually spectacular, I reckon that it won't be visually demanding on the GPU.
No.
Because
there isn't a lot going on in the game on the screen anyway.
No.
So it's only blocks, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But from the point of view of that, it's a shame that they haven't. Yeah, they could have tweaked the gameplay there. So probably make that learning curve more of a slope than a steep mountain to climb.
Well, it was just a sheer rock face. There was no. You just hit a wall, and that's it. And as soon as I hit that wall, that game went off and was undeleted. Oh, it was deleted straight away. Mentioned about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's a massive game. I played that for a 3-hour session last night. First gaming session I've had for ages. And
yeah, I mean, I like the idea of that. I mean, right now I don't need it in my life, so that can wait.
Yeah.
But that game having some issues, and Dirt 5, for example, also having issues, still worries me that I don't want to jump
Assassin's Creed
into
Valhalla doesn't have any issues that I've seen.
Yeah. What about Dirt 5?
Not played it. I'm not into the Dirt sort of series.
Yeah.
I played Bugsnax, which was free if you got a PlayStation 5. It's all right. It's very sort of how can I put it? It's very what was the name of that? Viva Pinata-ish. But with like a questy storyline run through it is the way to describe it. Demon's Souls, which is evidently fantastic on the PlayStation 5, I really want to play as well. We had Planet Coaster console edition, which I do want to play also. So there was a few really good games. And also, I'm surprised you did not mention about Mortal Kombat 11.
No, I'm just looking. Yeah, that's just had the treatment as well.
Yeah.
So I may look at. I think you can get the base game pretty cheap, but I would love some of the extras because I want to do the fight between Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Yeah,
there's Rambo and the Terminator.
And there's also Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was released on all platforms as well, and Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory.
Football-wise, for me, it's been a long time coming, but the first Football Manager game in an age has come on to Game Pass and other platforms as well. So I think we've been well catered for even though a lot of these games came out beforehand, we've been well catered with the new consoles, even though we've been wanting more that we should have got, should we say? It's difficult to put it.
Mm.
But yeah, I think we was well enough there. There's more than enough there to keep you happy.
Definitely. So I think that was more or less it for the month. There was a lot of other titles, but not ones that would really attract us to our attention. Obviously, 5th of November, we went into a 1 month lockdown. But
really,
yeah, we did.
I don't think it was, but there you go.
Well,
that was no lockdown in it from my point of view. Seeing the way the world was,
we were supposed to be in lockdown, but people just ignored it.
Yeah.
And then November the 15th, NASA and SpaceX launched SpaceX Crew 1 from the Kennedy Space Center Launch Complex to the ISS, the first operational flight of the Crew Dragon capsule. We lost Jeffrey Palmer at the age of 93.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah, and the big one for all of us Star Wars fans, the Green Cross Code man himself, Darth Vader, Dave Prowse at the age of 85.
Yeah, I mean, both of them. I mean, Jeffrey Palmer, I've been watching him since the 70s in different sort of sitcom shows.
Butterflies and that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and even popped up in a Bond movie as well.
Which one was that? I can't remember.
So that was the one with Pierce Brosnan. So if you remember the beginning sequence where he's watching a auction of missiles and that in a mountaintop, and there's been a missile's fired at the mountain, and he's trying to get the plane out. If you remember rightly, I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies, maybe off the top of my head, possibly.
Right. You see, for me, I always remember him in the Fairly Secret Army. Do you remember that series? It was ran in 84 to 86, where he was sort of like eccentric Englishman trying to set up his own secret army to fight against anarchy. I was quite like that as a show.
But he was a very dry character in way who he played. But he worked well. But I think, as you say, Butterflies for me, something at the time that was talked about. I mean, even in the family there, Jeffrey Palmer was the dad, Wendy Craig was the mum, and a very young Nicholas Lyndhurst, a.k.a. Rodney from Only Fools and Horses, started his career.
It was indeed, yeah. People forget. People think he started off on Only Fools and he didn't.
No. And Butterflies was, I think, a little bit more before, but yeah. And obviously David Prowse, you can't get away from what he did, or what he didn't get to do in Star Wars. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a shame.
I would love to see that footage where that director recreated that end scene in Return of the Jedi, but put David Prowse in the place instead of Sebastian Shaw, who was the original actor. To play there. I think that would be fantastic to be able to see, but it has been filmed and there was a documentary on about it that showed about the filming of it and this director getting permission to do it, but he was only ever allowed to show it to a small group of people. So hopefully one day that'll come out. It should be put back into the movies.
It might rear its ugly head in maybe in some kind of documentary at some point.
Yeah, hopefully.
Anyway,
let's move on to December. So, in December, a couple of good ones, I think, this month. Obviously, the big one, which we've both played, is Cyberpunk 2077 and all the controversy that has followed and plagued that game.
I really feel sorry for people that picked that up on the box standard consoles. You are so blurry, man. What has happened? I
have no idea why I've suddenly gone so blurry.
You look like I need to put my glasses on, but I don't think it will make any difference. It doesn't. No.
There we go.
That's better. There you go. You're back again.
Yeah.
Yes, I played over 40 hours of Cyberpunk I've completed one of the storylines for an ending. There is about 5 endings you can do.
Right.
So what I might do is, for the moment, I might put that down for a bit, because I caned it like I have done, to maybe wait in the new year. I don't know if it's true that we're not going to get the upgrade for the Series X and everything else until the summer. That'd be a shame if it is.
Quite possibly.
But honestly, I have had no real issue other than a couple of, before the first 2, we had 2 updates, haven't we, on this? We're on to 1.5, I think, now. I've had no real problem. It plays like a dream. Obviously, it'd be nice to have that gloss on the front of it, which you PC lovers have already got. But it plays well. The storyline I took with the character I had was very revealing in places, especially a certain shower scene, which I don't think I can post the images,
Okay.
which is quite amusing. But it was good to play. I need to try and change that storyline. Some of the things I did do near to the end can make a big difference still.
Did you find the gun that will give you either knee shots or headshots?
I don't know.
Because there's a gun that has a AI built into it that evidently will give you either knee shots or headshots, which you pick up early on in the game, and is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. But the first 50 shots that it does, it will give you what you ask for, and then it permanently switches over to the other. So if you say you want headshots on everybody, you've got to, if you want that in the long run, you've got to ask it at the beginning of the game to do knee shots on people. Because after the first 50 sort of shots, it'll switch over permanently. You can't switch it back. So, there's if it's interesting, if you have a look in the 10 things that, you can miss in terms of the game.
There is a gun I got, there's a pistol I'm using, which you do find early on in the game.
Yeah.
And I've upgraded that because I've done a lot of crafting in the game. Some people probably haven't, but I did. And it's great. This pistol, I just keep firing it away. And then what would happen is they would burst into flames as well. And it's brilliant because that's killing as well as, that's slowly killing as well as you hitting bullets in them as well.
Yeah.
Superb. Absolutely brilliant. And some of the other guys, I've got a great sniper rifle that I use. Again, picked up earlier on. There is so many weapons in that game to play with, and some I still haven't found.
Yeah,
it is that go-to game, and it is one of the games of the year for me.
It's a game I need to pick up again,
or start from scratch. You mean?
Well, no, but I think I'm far enough in. I don't want to start from scratch, and I'll be able to pick it up from where I am. But I'm early enough that I can do that. So
yeah. I mean, I went for I did the I can't remember what they called it now, because you had a nomad, you had the corporation, kid. That's the street kid, and the gunplay was brilliant there. The way, I mean, I think it's a near 20-minute difference for each character when you play the different types.
Yeah.
So you'll go into a nomad, but after about 25 minutes, you'll go into the same part of the game that you play with any other sort of one you choose to do. Depending on your character, whether you can romance different members of the community.
That depends on your sex. That depends on your sex.
But what you can do is you can if you change your sex and also your voice, so you're like a sort of a transgender character. Mm-hmm. You can shortcut that if you're with me.
All right, okay.
But I will try different ideas with that, because I've been told one of the other girls that you can romance, there's a good storyline to her.
Right.
So when you play the end, when you get to a point in the game where it says that if you go into here, you got to go to the end of the game. There will be different ways that will play out.
Right.
Unfortunately, I still don't get why once you complete the story, it will bring you back to that point in the game outside that building before it says, before you go in here, this would be it. Do you know what I mean?
Presumably because the DLC will be built around that.
Well, it was quite amazing because I can't even tell you what happened. Once I completed the story and I was back in I'm just going to call it living quarters because I'm not going to say where it is and what it is. And then what happened to me between my character and Judy, I will call that probably not the good ending. I'll call that probably a bad ending from Judy's perspective. But then when I got picked up in the flying cars, and then where that led me on to, and then it ended, I went, I want to see more. That what I was going to be going to in a mission, and I can't tell you where I was going and what I was doing. I thought, this would mean if they can carry this on to what they were going to do, it will be amazing. But what worries me is the lawsuits, the issues that the developers have had. All this could stumble that game's progression.
Yeah, sure it will.
I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't, because some of this DLC that could be coming out in the next, I don't know how long that would take to build, whether it's over a year or not, I don't know. It will be a travesty, to be honest. So yeah, but it is one of the games of the year for me still, personally. I know some people may disagree, but and of course Destiny had its upgrade. I need to go back to that now because I haven't been playing it as well as much. I think December's been a good month, but again, it's been a quiet month for gaming, to be honest. I think, especially from the Christmas point of view.
Yeah, I mean, Rainbow Six Siege had PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S upgrades, which is a great game to play with friends. Red Dead Online as well has become available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yeah,
and one game that I found, which I was aware of it coming out, but I was never too, about it, is Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is, the best way to describe it is like Legend of Zelda meets Assassin's Creed. And it's a great little game, and at the moment you can pick it up for about half price. And it was only released at the beginning of the month, but it's in a lot of sales at the moment, and it's well worth picking up.
Yeah,
really enjoy playing it so far, and I know that a lot of the community, when I posted about it on the Facebook group, have said as well that they've tried it and really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah,
but you can tell it's got that sort of Assassin's Creed back engine, but with the visuals looking very, Breath of the Wild sort of Legend of Zelda sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So there's plenty to come January, February, leading on into sort of Easter.
Yeah, I will be picking those up next year.
But again, we'll have to wait and see how they progress, because again, I'm sure there'll be a few delays in the way. I don't think if a delay these days, if a delay happens, I don't give them grief over it. No, personally.
I don't see the point. I'd rather release the game when it's ready than release something half baked.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, world events. 1st of December was when Pfizer and BioNTech announced an emergency use of the authorization application to the European Medicines Agency, and the Arecibo telescope collapsed just weeks after announcement of its planned demolition. Wasn't the Arecibo one the one that was in GoldenEye?
Might have been.
December the 2nd, the UK approves the Pfizer vaccine. And we also ended lockdown as well for the second time, not that you would have noticed.
No, not with the way the tears have gone.
No. And the bad news was we lost Barbara Windsor at the age of 83. Well known for her roles in the Carry On movies, amongst very many other things.
Yeah, the BBC had a... Well, yeah, I mean, she was well loved in that, and they did not have a tribute, but she was mentioned about it in the one episode leading up to Christmas.
Yeah.
For that, but I say Carry On from that point of view. I mean, yeah, she's a legend in where that's concerned. Our American friends may not know this as much, but it's something that is what's the word to use?
A camp British comedy.
Yeah, but it is an institution in itself, and it always will be. Anyway,
let's listen to Craig's call last Christmas message.
Happy Christmas, guys. Thanks for all the entertainment this year. Much appreciated. Hope you both keep safe and manage to get lots of gaming time in this Christmas. And P.S. Bungie really need to create something new, and bloody soon.
Thanks a lot, Craig. That's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
So we're at the end. So do you want to do your normal...
Yeah, so if you want to see me on FIFA at the minute, that's what I'm playing. Game is Steve007, Twitter at Steve007, and PSN ID is the real Steve007. Instagram Steve0764, and I think my YouTube channel, which had a few subscribers of late. I'm not even topped 100, but hey ho, it's us little people get a few more. But yeah, that is Steve07 as well.
Yeah.
And yourself?
So for me, it's HERJ UK. You can find us on everything, searching for that. PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, Twitter,
everything.
YouTube, everything, apart from Epic Games, which just look for Pop Culture Gamers on there. Don't forget, if you want to follow the show, you can also follow Pop Culture Gamer. You can go to our Facebook group. We also have a Facebook page. And you can email the show at podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. And don't forget our website, popculturegamers.podbean.com. Although that might be changing soon because I'm considering swapping providers.
Like your internet.
Well, no, I'm just basically trying to make it more cost effective. And while we've been very happy with Podbean, we can get Anchor for free.
Exactly. So, there's no worries with that.
No, so I think might look to change that. I've got a few days left to decide before we actually end up doing that. But we can, But
it's now lunchtime, believe it or not. We started off in the morning.
Yeah, we started off at 9 o'clock. It's now 24 minutes past 12.
And it's time for a turkey sandwich, I think.
That sounds good to me. So hope you've all had a Merry Christmas and have a wonderful and happy New Year. And we'll see you in 2021.
So it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from him.
Good night.
Good night.
You are about to witness history in the making.